Outpost Theta 9 wasn't on any traveler's map, not officially. It sat near the edge of the Talari Drift, a stretch of forgotten space carved up by asteroid fields, failed colonies, and ghost signals from long-dead satellites. The outpost had once been a thriving med-research hub during the war, but now, years later, it was little more than a glorified scrapyard with a medbay. One aging atmospheric shield kept the dust storms out, while inside, broken bots hummed quietly, doing jobs no one supervised anymore. Dr. Noah Graves liked it that way. He wasn't hiding. Not really. Just avoiding things. The galaxy had changed too fast, too violently. Empires had collapsed. Alliances shattered. Alien races once thought mythical now walked among humans, either as friends or conquerors, depending on the system. Noah had served in the war as a trauma medic. He'd seen too much, done too much. So when the military offered him Theta 9 as a post-service assignment, he didn't ask questions. On most days, the silence was welcome. On others, it was deafening. Noah sat hunched at his workstation, tuning an old medical drone for the 100th time, when the first warning alert blared. Unauthorized vessel 8P shading. He blinked, tapping the screen. A red light pulsed across the outpost's perimeter map. Then a second alert. Impact DETCTED. MA in hatch. A thunderous thud echoed through the outer corridor. Noah leaped up, his heart hammering. That wasn't a docking procedure. That was a forced entry. The pressure-sealed doors shuddered under the weight of something, or someone, trying to breach them. For a moment, he stood frozen, unsure whether to grab his medkit or his shock baton. Then the doors slid open, and chaos poured in. 5 towering figures burst through the airlock, wrapped in gleaming black and gold armor etched with alien runes. Their helmets obscured their faces, but their eyes glowed faintly, burning like distant stars. Each carried curved plasma-forged blades sheathed at their hips. Noah recognized the armor style from Deep War files. Aurelians, a warrior race few humans had seen in the flesh, and even fewer had lived to speak about. In the arms of the lead warrior was a woman. She was limp, her silver-toned skin glistening with sweat, her body wrapped in armor more ornate than the others. A crown-like circlet pressed into her brow, half cracked and dripping with blood. Her long hair flowed like strands of moonlight, clinging to her as if even her beauty refused to die. The lead warrior stepped forward and growled, "Human, save her. Now." Noah stared for a heartbeat too long, caught between fear and awe. Then instinct took over. "Put her on the table there," he barked, already moving toward his surgical suite. The Aurelians hesitated, their blades twitching at their sides, but a nod from the leader sent them following. Inside the cramped medbay, the lights flickered as the emergency systems whirred to life. Noah snapped on his gloves, eyes locked on the young woman now lying on his table. Her breathing was shallow, barely there. Blood, blue, rich and glowing, pooled under her. He tapped his scanner. The diagnostics pulsed red. Her internal vitals are crashing. Multiple organ systems in failure. This isn't just a wound. There's poison. Nanotoxins. She's dying fast. The warrior closest to him growled, "She is Princess Celia of House Virex. Failure is not an option." Noah shot him a look. "Well then maybe don't interrupt the guy trying to keep her alive." To his surprise, the warrior fell silent. His hands moved fast, stripping away cracked armor plates, injecting a suspension compound to slow the spread of the toxin, running his autosynth for antivenom samples. The poison was unlike anything he'd treated before. Engineered, alive, smart. It was adapting to her blood chemistry with every second. Noah leaned over her and whispered under his breath, "You're stronger than this. I know you are." As he worked, he caught the flicker of something strange, embedded beneath her skin, a glowing shard no longer than a tooth, a biological data crystal, a neural core. It pulsed once as his scanner passed over it. The Aurelians tensed. The leader stepped closer. "You saw it?" he asked, voice low. "I did, and I'm not removing it. It's bonded to her. Take it out, and she dies before I can stop the bleeding." The warrior nodded once, as if confirming something to himself. "Good. Then you understand what is at stake." Noah returned to his work, tuning out the oppressive presence of 5 alien warriors breathing down his neck. He connected her veins to the dialysis node, watching the machine filter out the toxin, bit by bit. Her vitals stabilized, slightly. But it wasn't enough. He needed to stimulate cellular regeneration. Fast. He reached for a vial, his last dose of regenerative nanocytes, meant for human use only. It could kill her, or it could save her. He hesitated, looked at her face, so calm, even now, and made the call. He pressed the injector to her neck and squeezed the trigger. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her eyes fluttered. Glowing silver irises met his. Her lips parted, the barest whisper escaping. "Help." Noah's breath caught. She was still in there. He turned to the Aurelians. "She's not out of the woods yet, but she's alive." The leader stepped forward and unsheathed his blade. Noah froze. "What are you?" The warrior knelt and planted the blade in the ground before him. "You have earned the favor of House Virex. The princess lives because of you, human. You will be summoned." Noah exhaled slowly, still shaking from adrenaline. Somewhere in his gut, he knew this was no ordinary patient. And this was no ordinary rescue. Hours passed. The medbay, usually quiet and filled with the low hum of idle machines, was now saturated with tension. The Aurelians had not moved. They remained still as statues, guarding the unconscious princess like sacred relics, their glowing eyes fixed on Noah as he monitored the life signs pulsing gently on the screen. Princess Celia's vitals were stable now, barely, but her body still fought a war beneath the skin. The toxin had been filtered, and the nanocytes were working, but the damage was deep molecular. Her regenerative processes were unlike any he had ever studied. It was as if her cells were encoded with ancient technology, living memory encoded into her very DNA. Noah sat back, running a hand over his tired face. He hadn't slept in nearly 20 hours. But it wasn't exhaustion that weighed on him. It was the realization that he had just become a thread in a web far larger than anything he had ever known. The lead Aurelian finally spoke. "She will live. Your actions have spared a bloodline that must not end." Noah looked up, his voice hoarse. "And who exactly have I saved?" The warrior removed his helmet. Beneath it was a chiseled face, eyes that glowed like burning coals, and skin marked by fine silver lines that shimmered as he moved. "I am Commander Varen of the Royal Guard. You have saved the last living heir to the Phyrexian throne, the First Flame, keeper of the Star Sigil, and future bearer of the Oath of Galrath. You have no idea the war your hands may have just paused." Noah blinked slowly. "She's not just royalty. She's the royalty." Varen nodded. "There are those who would rather see her line end in silence. Those who planted that blade. That toxin was crafted by the Shadowborn. We chased them to the edge of known space, but they vanished before we could finish them. It was only by fate we found her alive." Noah stood and crossed his arms. "I didn't sign up for galactic politics. I'm just a doctor. I fix people. That's all." Varen stepped closer, and although he didn't raise his voice, his tone hardened like steel under pressure. "You may believe you are just a doctor, but you now carry a debt and a bond. A life spark has been preserved through your hands. In our culture, that is not a small act. You are no longer just a human. You are a guardian of the flame." Noah shook his head. "No offense, but your culture sounds exhausting." Behind him, Celia stirred. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to the medible. Her fingers twitched first, then her lips parted in a soft exhale. Her eyelids fluttered open, revealing glowing silver irises that scanned the sterile room with growing clarity. She tried to rise, and Noah immediately stepped forward, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "Hey, easy, you're safe. You're in my medbay." She looked at him, confused. Her voice, when it came, was soft, melodic, and slightly accented. "You are not Aurelian." "No, I'm human. Dr. Noah Graves. You were dying when they brought you in." She turned her gaze to Varen, and something unspoken passed between them. Relief, sorrow, guilt. Then she returned her attention to Noah. "You saved me." He nodded. "I did what anyone would be." "No," she interrupted gently. "Many would not." Her fingers reached up, brushing across the crown now cracked beside her on the pillow. She hesitated for a moment, then turned back to Noah. "I owe you a life debt." Noah shook his head. "That's not necessary." "It is law," she replied. "A sacred vow. You have preserved the line of Virex. Until my debt is repaid, I am bound to you." Noah froze. "Bound? What does that even mean?" Varen stepped in, his tone calm now, ceremonial. "You have become her lifekeeper. It is an ancient bond, predating Starflight. It grants you protection from all Aurelians, and more. It binds your fate to hers." Noah stared at the both of them, his throat suddenly dry. "That's not ideal." Celia smiled softly. "Yet it is done." Noah sighed and rubbed his temples. "Okay, fine. What happens now?" "You take her back to your golden palace and forget the strange little human that stitched her back together." Varen shook his head slowly. "It is not so simple. She cannot return yet. The court is fractured. The Shadowborn have infiltrated even high ranks. If she is seen too soon, she will be hunted again." Noah frowned. "So you want her to stay here? She is safest with the one no one would expect." Noah opened his mouth to argue, but stopped. There was something in Celia's expression. Trust. Gratitude. She looked at him like someone seeing light after a long time in darkness. He swallowed. "Okay, but if she stays, I need to know what I'm protecting." Celia nodded, her hand pressing lightly over her chest, where the data shard still glowed faintly beneath her skin. "I carry the flame cycle," she said. "It is a living memory passed through bloodlines. In it lies the last encoded coordinates to the vault of Ertorin, a place long believed a myth." Noah blinked. "What's in the vault?" Her gaze turned distant, as if seeing stars far beyond the ceiling. "Hope," she whispered, "or destruction." And in that moment, Noah realized he wasn't just tending to a wounded alien anymore. He had just stepped into a story far bigger than anything he'd ever imagined. The next morning came not with sunlight, but with the cold, synthetic hum of the outer shield turbines cycling back to life. Noah had set them to manual override hours ago, but the old outpost systems were unpredictable at best, much like everything else in his life lately. He sat at the edge of his cot, staring at the datapad in his hand. It still displayed Celia's diagnostics, and though her vitals were improving, the foreign markers in her bloodstream glowed like a beacon through every scan. They weren't just markers of royalty. They were something older, something that pulsed with power he couldn't explain. The flame cycle. He couldn't get that name out of his mind. It sounded mythical, like something from an ancient epic, but the data said otherwise. It was real. Alive. Embedded in her genetic code, fused to her bioneural cortex. It wasn't just a symbol. It was an interface, a key to something vast and dangerous. Celia stirred behind him. She had insisted on walking the corridors earlier, claiming that motion helped her recover faster. He had expected her to collapse after a few steps. She didn't. Her strength was returning with unnatural speed. The nanocytes had been designed for humans, but her body was adapting rapidly, far more efficiently than he had anticipated. He glanced back at her now, watching as she adjusted the cuffs of the oversized medical tunic he'd given her. It looked comically simple against her royal presence, but she wore it like armor. "You didn't sleep," she said, her voice gentle. "I don't sleep much these days." "You should." She stepped closer, examining the holographic display over his shoulder. "That's the 6th time you've checked my molecular repair rate. Are you always this obsessive?" He offered a dry smirk. "Only when I accidentally get myself involved in interstellar politics and nearly die doing it." Her smile was faint, but real. "You saved me, Noah Graves. Not just my body, but something more. I felt the edge of the void. You pulled me back." Noah looked at her carefully. "I don't know what's coming, Celia, but I know we're not prepared. That sigil in you, it's more than just some royal birthmark." She nodded slowly. "The flame sigil is our legacy. The memory of our ancestors, compressed into light. It remembers everything. Wars, betrayals, victories, failures. It is a living archive. And now, it holds something else too." "What?" She looked down at her hands, then back at him. "A prophecy." Noah blinked. "I really hope you wouldn't say that." Her voice dropped, barely above a whisper. "One bearer, one outsider, one vault. The stars themselves remember this path." Before he could reply, a loud thunk echoed from the outer corridor, followed by another. Then static crackled through the comms array. Noah stood quickly and tapped the console. A signal was coming through, fragmented, encrypted. He worked quickly to isolate the frequency. "Someone's pinging the outpost," he said. "Encrypted channel. Not military standard. It's bouncing through an old Turan relay. Someone knows how to hide." Celia stepped closer. "Can you decode it?" "I can try." As he worked, Celia watched the flickering symbols on the screen. For a brief moment, the display warped, just for a heartbeat, and an ancient glyph pulsed across it. She gasped. "That's Aurelian battle script. It's a shadow signature." "A what now?" "Only elite assassins use it. The Shadowborn." Noah froze. "So they know you're alive." She nodded grimly. "And they're calling out to see who answers." Varen entered the medbay just then, his armored form silent as always. He looked at the signal and narrowed his eyes. "They're not far. We must prepare to move." Noah shook his head. "This is a medical outpost, not a fortress." "Then we will make it one. Or we die here." The tension in the room grew heavy. Noah looked between them both. Celia, recovering but Mark, and Varen, fierce but grim. "I need time," Noah said, "to disable their tracking. If I can isolate the frequency and invert the pulse, we might be able to bounce it into deep space. Buy us a few hours." Celia stepped beside him. "Do it. I'll prepare the cycle." He hesitated. "Prepare it for what?" "To defend us," she said. "The flame is not only memory. It is energy. It can burn shadows." Noah didn't understand what that meant, but he didn't argue. An hour passed in a blur of work. Wires, heat coils, encrypted relays. He poured every bit of technical knowledge into the system. Meanwhile, Celia sat cross-legged in the meditation alcove, her eyes closed, the sigil beneath her skin glowing brighter with every breath. And then, without warning, the signal stopped. Varen's head snapped up. "Too clean. That wasn't us." Noah checked the logs. "It's not bouncing anymore. It's gone. Like it was never here." Celia opened her eyes. "They are here." Noah looked at the scanner. No ships. No heat signatures, but he knew better now. The Shadowborn were masters of stealth. And worse, whispers in the flame memory had said they could manipulate light itself. The outer door creaked. All three turned as the lights dimmed. Cold air seeped in like breath from the void. From the corridor, a voice slithered in. "Return the spark, princess, or we will take it from your bones." Celia stood. But this time, she did not stand as a patient or a fugitive. She stood as a bearer of the flame. Noah backed up slowly, hand on the emergency lockdown switch. "Tell me you have a plan." She turned to him, the sigil now a burning star on her chest. "I do," she said, and the fire in her eyes was no longer just survival. It was defiance.